Snow fell softly against the towering glass windows of the Grand Imperial Hotel, frosting the city in silver and gold. Christmas lights shimmered across rooftops. Couples laughed over candlelit tables, and children pressed their faces against the glass to watch the snowfall. At the far corner of the private dining room sat a man no one dared disturb. Marcus Moretti. To the public, he didn't exist. To politicians, he was a whisper. To the underworld, he was king. At 36, Marcus controlled the largest criminal network on the East Coast. Shipping routes, construction unions, high-stakes gambling, private security firms. Every profitable shadow in the city carried his fingerprint. Judges owed him favors. Senators answered his calls. Rivals feared him. And tonight, he sat alone. The table had been set for two. Crystal flutes, imported champagne, a reservation made 6 months ago, back when he believed love could be negotiated like everything else. Catherine had chosen this place. She loved elegance, cameras, attention. Marcus had imagined this dinner as the beginning of something different, a life less violent, less hidden. 2 weeks ago, she left him, for a movie star. "You live in the dark, Marcus," she'd said while packing designer luggage. "I want someone who lives in the spotlight." He hadn't begged. Mafia bosses don't beg. But tonight, the empty chair across from him felt heavier than any enemy he'd ever buried. "Your champagne, Mr. Moretti," the waiter said carefully. Marcus nodded once. The staff here understood discretion. They also understood fear. He lifted the glass slightly toward the vacant seat. "Merry Christmas," he murmured dryly. His security team waited outside the hotel. He had sent the rest of his men home. "Be with your families," he'd ordered earlier. Almost ironic. Everyone had somewhere to go, except him. His parents had retired back to Sicily. His younger brother had died in a gang war years ago. Since then, Marcus had replaced family with loyalty contracts and blood oaths. It wasn't the same. He was about to request the check. He had no appetite for a feast he would eat alone, when raised voices interrupted the room's polished calm. "Please, I have a reservation." The woman's voice carried embarrassment wrapped in determination. Marcus turned his head slightly. At the host stand stood a woman in her early 30s, brown hair pulled into a simple ponytail, a worn green sweater, dignity in her posture despite visible exhaustion. On either side of her stood two identical little girls in bright yellow jackets. Twins. "Sarah Mitchell, party of 3, 7M, she repeated. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the host replied stiffly. "We have a strict dress code. The children aren't appropriately dressed." The girls tightened their grip on their mother's hands. "Mummy, aren't we having Christmas dinner?" one asked quietly. Sarah's smile trembled. "It's okay, sweetheart. We'll find somewhere else." Marcus felt something sharp and unfamiliar shift in his chest. He remembered being 8 years old, standing outside a restaurant in Brooklyn while his mother argued politely with a maitre d'. They hadn't let them in either. He pushed his chair back. The scrape echoed. Conversation nearby softened instantly. When Marcus Moretti stood, people noticed. He walked toward the host stand with controlled calm. "What seems to be the issue?" His voice was low, steady, the kind of tone that had ended arguments permanently before. The host stiffened. "Mr. Moretti, there's no problem, sir." "There is now," Marcus interrupted smoothly. "They're with me." Sarah blinked in confusion. "I'm sorry, I don't know you." He met her eyes. For once, there was no calculation there, no intimidation, just honesty. "My name is Marcus. I have a table for 2. I think it would be better as a table for 4. Silence lingered. The twins looked hopeful. Sarah looked cautious. Everyone in the city knew his name. "You don't have to," she said softly. "Actually," Marcus replied, "you'd be doing me a favor." Something in his expression must have convinced her. After a brief hesitation, she nodded. The host hurried to expand the table. Staff moved quickly, nervous energy crackling in the air. Marcus crouched slightly to meet the twins at eye level. "And what are your names?" I'm Emma," one said proudly. "I'm Lee," the other whispered. "Well, Emma and Lily, I'm very glad you're having dinner with me tonight." They took their seats. At first, conversation was tentative. Then Emma began explaining in very serious detail how Santa tracked weather patterns. Lily chimed in about reindeer aerodynamics. Marcus found himself listening, genuinely listening. Sarah relaxed gradually. "You saved for this reservation?" Marcus asked quietly. She nodded. 6 months. For one dinner? It's their first Christmas without their father that they really understand he's gone. Her voice faltered. "He died 2 years ago. Car accident." Marcus's jaw tightened. He knew loss. He knew sudden violence. "I work double shifts at the hospital," she continued. "I just wanted one night where we weren't surviving, just living." Marcus signalled the waiter. "The chef's tasting menu for all of us. And hot chocolate with extra marshmallows." The twins gasped with delight. As dishes arrived, laughter slowly replaced awkwardness. Marcus couldn't remember the last time he'd laughed without calculation behind it. Other diners stared discreetly. The city's most feared crime lord sharing dessert with a working-class widow and her daughters. For once, he didn't care. Midway through dessert, Marcus asked, "What do you do at the hospital?" "I'm a paediatric nurse. I love it. I was offered a nurse practitioner position at Children's Hospital, but I can't afford the certification courses." "How much?" 15,000. For Marcus, it was a trivial sum. For her, it sounded like defeat. He simply nodded, saying nothing. Yet. Then Emma tugged at his sleeve. "Mr. Marcus, are you sad?" Sarah flushed. "Emma, that's not polite." "It's okay," Marcus said. He looked at the child. "I was a little sad when I came here tonight." Emma studied him seriously. "You're not allowed to be sad on Christmas." A smile broke through despite him. "And why is that?" "Because Christmas is for being happy," Lily whispered. Something in him, something hardened over years of violence and power, cracked. "I think," Marcus said slowly, "you're right. For the first time in years, the most powerful man in the city did not feel powerful. He felt human, and he had no idea yet how much this night would change his life." Dessert arrived like a spectacle. A towering display of chocolate snowflakes, spun sugar icicles, and a glowing sparkler in the centre. Emma and Lily gasped as if they had just witnessed a miracle. Marcus found himself watching their faces instead of the dessert. Pure joy, no strategy, no suspicion, no hidden agenda. It felt foreign to him. Sarah dabbed her eyes discreetly. "You didn't have to do all this." "I know," Marcus replied calmly. "I wanted to." He wasn't used to wanting things that weren't tied to power. For years, generosity in his world had always carried an expectation, loyalty, silence, obligation. Tonight felt different. The twins were busy arguing over who got the chocolate snowflake when Sarah leaned forward slightly. "You said you run security businesses?" she asked carefully. A faint smile touched Marcus's lips. "Something like that?" She didn't press further. Either she knew exactly who he was and chose not to say it, or she sensed it didn't matter right now. "What about you?" she asked. "Why are you really here alone tonight?" Marcus didn't answer immediately. He could fabricate something smooth and polished. Instead, he surprised himself. "I thought I was building a future with someone," he said. "Turns out she was building an exit plan." Sarah's expression softened. "That's painful." "It's educational," he corrected quietly. He glanced at the empty chair that had been set beside him. "I control half of this city," he added. "But I couldn't convince one person to stay." "Maybe she didn't leave because you weren't enough," Sarah said gently. Maybe she left because she wasn't. The simplicity of that statement disarmed him more than a threat ever could. Across the table, Emma leaned toward him again. Mr. Marcus, do you have kids? No. Why not? Sarah nearly choked on her drink. Emma! Marcus laughed. A real laugh. I suppose I never thought I would. Well, Emma declared seriously, you should. Kids are loud, but they're fun. Noted, Marcus replied solemnly. When the laughter settled, he turned back to Sarah. Tell me about the certification, he said. She hesitated. It's 12 months, advanced pediatric training. After that, I'd be a nurse practitioner, better hours, more money. I could actually be home in the evenings. And the only thing stopping you is $15,000. She nodded. I've been saving, she added quickly. But something always happens. Medical bills, school supplies, rent increases. Marcus studied her quietly. He had laundered more than $15,000 before breakfast on an average day. But this felt heavier. Do you believe in opportunity? He asked. She frowned slightly. Of course. What if I told you I have a foundation that funds healthcare education? Her eyes narrowed in confusion. You do? I invest in hospitals, training programs, community initiatives. That part was true. Philanthropy was useful for public relations. There's a grant application. Simple process. Quick approval. Sarah immediately shook her head. I couldn't accept charity. It's not charity, Marcus replied firmly. It's funding designed for people exactly like you. She looked unconvinced. Listen to me, he said, voice lowering slightly, not threatening, just steady. You're not asking for a handout. You're asking for a chance to multiply what you already give. You save children for a living. Let someone invest in that. Silence lingered between them. Finally, she exhaled slowly. If I apply, I earn it? Yes. And there are no conditions? Marcus held her gaze. No conditions. In his world, that sentence was rare. Emma suddenly tugged his sleeve again. Mr. Marcus, do you have someone to open presents with tomorrow? The question struck harder than it should have. No, he admitted. The twins exchanged a look, a silent twin conversation. Then Emma announced, You can come to our house? Sarah blinked. Girls, we have a little tree, Lily added shyly, and Mommy makes special pancakes. Marcus felt something unfamiliar rise in his throat. He had been invited into penthouses, political fundraisers, secret meetings. No invitation had ever felt like this. I don't want to intrude, he said carefully. You wouldn't, Sarah replied quietly, studying him. But you should understand. We live in a small apartment. It's nothing like this. That sounds perfect, Marcus said. And for once, he meant it. The next morning, Christmas Day, Marcus Moretti stood outside a modest apartment building in a working-class neighbourhood. No armoured convoy, no visible bodyguards, just him carrying a carefully selected bag of gifts. He had instructed his assistant at dawn to purchase art supplies for the twins, books, educational toys, nothing extravagant, nothing that would overwhelm. He knocked. The door opened to reveal Sarah in soft pyjamas, hair loose and slightly messy. She looked surprised. You came. I said I would. Inside, the apartment was small but warm. A 3-foot Christmas tree stood in the corner, decorated with handmade paper ornaments and popcorn garlands. The twins were already awake, sitting cross-legged on the floor. Mr. Marcus! They shouted in unison. He stepped inside cautiously, as if entering sacred ground. There were no marble floors, no chandeliers, no armed guards, just warmth. They spent the morning making pancakes. Emma insisted on stirring batter, while Lily supervised syrup distribution. Sarah laughed easily, more relaxed than the night before. Marcus realized something unsettling. He felt safer here than in any mansion he owned. When the twins opened their gifts, their reactions weren't greedy or spoiled. They were grateful, overwhelmed by coloured pencils and sketchbooks. "Now we can draw Santa better," Emma announced. Sarah stared at the coffee maker Marcus had brought her. "This is too much." "It's just coffee," he said lightly. She looked at him for a long moment. "No," she said softly. "It's more than that." As the twins built a block castle on the floor, Sarah approached him quietly. "I applied for the grant last night," she said. "Good." "I don't know if I'll get it." "You will," he replied. She tilted her head. "You sound very certain." Marcus allowed himself the faintest smile. "I have influence." She didn't ask further. For the first time in years, Marcus found himself hoping for something that had nothing to do with territory or dominance. He hoped she would succeed. He hoped this wouldn't be the last morning he spent in this apartment. As he prepared to leave, Emma hugged him unexpectedly. "See you soon, Mr. Marcus." He froze briefly, then returned the hug gently. "Yes," he said, "soon." And as he stepped back into the cold winter air, Marcus Moretti understood something dangerous. For the first time in his life, he wanted more than power. He wanted to belong. Winter didn't soften the city. It sharpened it, snow covered the streets, but the underworld stayed hot. Deals, betrayals, whispers moving faster than traffic. Marcus Moretti returned to his world the moment he left Sarah's building. The air felt colder. The silence inside his car felt heavier. He was used to violence, used to control. What he wasn't used to was caring. For days after Christmas, Sarah stayed in his mind like a song that refused to end. Not because she was beautiful, though she was, but because she was real. She didn't watch him with hunger or fear or calculation. She watched him like he was simply a man. And the twins, Emma's blunt honesty, Lily's quiet warmth. They had looked at him like he wasn't a monster. He told himself he was just being kind. That meant nothing. Then, a week later, the email arrived. "Ashford, Moretti Healthcare Education Grant, approved." Marcus read it once, twice, $15,000 transferred to cover Sarah's certification program. No delays, no committee drama, no questions asked. He leaned back in his office chair, staring at the skyline beyond his penthouse windows. It should have felt like nothing. Instead, it felt clean. He called her. Sarah picked up on the second ring. "Hello?" "It's Marcus." A pause. "Hi." He could hear the twins in the background arguing about something small and urgent. Toys, probably. It made his chest tighten. "You got the grant," he said. Silence. Then a sharp inhale, like she couldn't believe her lungs were working. What?" Her voice trembled. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure?" A sound escaped her. Not quite a laugh, not quite a sob. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Marcus, I don't know what to say." "Say you'll take the position when you're done." "I will," she said quickly. Then, softer. "I will. This changes everything." "Yes," Marcus replied. "It should." She hesitated. "Can I ask you something?" "Ask. Why'd you get it?" "Why did you do it?" Marcus looked down at his desk, at the neatly stacked folders, the bank statements, the surveillance reports, the city maps marked with territories and routes. All the paperwork of a man who owned everything and felt nothing. "Because your daughters deserved that Christmas memory," he said. "And because you deserve a life where you're not constantly drowning." Sarah went quiet. Then, "Most people don't help like that without expecting something." Marcus's voice hardened slightly. "I'm not from most people." A beat. Then Sarah whispered, "That's what scares me." Marcus didn't respond immediately. He understood fear. He lived in it. "I won't hurt you," he said finally. Sarah exhaled slowly. "I know, I don't understand you yet." "That's fair," Marcus said. "Dinner this weekend? Somewhere normal?" She laughed softly, like she'd been waiting for him to say that. "Yes?" They began meeting like that, not in grand hotels, in small restaurants where kids could talk too loudly and spill juice without anyone glaring, in parks where Emma ran in circles and Lily collected leaves as if they were treasure, in Sarah's apartment, where Marcus learned how to flip pancakes properly and where the twins insisted he watch every drawing they made. Something changed in him, quietly, day by day. He started leaving work earlier. He stopped attending certain meetings, the ones that ended with blood. His men noticed. His consilience, a grey-haired man named Vito Russo, noticed most of all. One evening, Vito stood in Marcus's office, arms folded, watching Marcus read a child's crayon drawing. It was a stick-figure man with a big head and a serious expression. Above it, Emma had written in messy letters, "Uncle Marcus." Vito's eyes narrowed. "You're distracted." Marcus didn't look up. "I'm thinking." "You're changing," Vito said. Marcus set the drawing down carefully. "So?" Vito stepped forward, voice lower. "So you're the boss. The city stays stable because you are stable. People smell weakness. Rivals get bold." Marcus's gaze turned icy. "Do I look weak to you?" Vito swallowed. "No, but you look different." Marcus leaned back. "Different doesn't mean weak." "Women and children are leverage," Vito warned quietly. "In our world, they become targets." Marcus's jaw tightened. "That won't happen," he said. Vito held his stare. "If anyone learns where they live, who they are to you, it will happen." Marcus's stomach dropped, not from fear for himself, but for them. "Make sure no one learns," Marcus ordered. Vito nodded, already working on it. But the underworld didn't need official announcements. It could sense a shift the same way sharks sensed blood. The first threat came in February. A rival crew tried to hijack one of Marcus's shipping containers at the docks. A direct challenge. Marcus's men handled it quickly. But when Marcus arrived afterward, he found a small red gift box placed on the hood of his car. No ribbon, no note. Just a child's plastic hair clip inside, pink, small. Marcus's blood ran cold. He knew exactly what it was. It looked like the kind Lily wore. He snapped his phone open and called Vito. "Now," he said. Vito answered instantly. "Boss?" "Someone sent me a box," Marcus said, voice flat. Hair clip." A pause. Then Vito's tone changed. Sharp, alarmed. "We're checking immediately." Marcus ended the call and stood still in the freezing night air, staring at the box like it was a bomb. Because it was. Not a weapon to kill him. A weapon to control him. That night, he drove to Sarah's building himself. He didn't bring guards. He didn't bring a fleet. He brought fear. Sarah opened the door, startled to see him so late. "Marcus, what's wrong?" He stepped inside, scanning the small apartment, the hallway, the window, the locks. The twins peeked from their bedroom doorway, sleepy and curious. Marcus forced a smile at them. "Hey, troublemakers," Emma yawned. "Hi, Uncle Marcus." The word hit him like a punch. Sarah watched him carefully. "You're pale. Sit down." He didn't sit. "We need to talk," he said. Sarah's expression tightened. "Okay, about what?" Marcus's eyes flicked to the twins. "Not in front of them," he said. Sarah motioned to the girls gently. "Go back to bed, okay? Mommy will be there in a minute." Emma pouted, but obeyed. Lily waved sleepily. When the bedroom door shut, Marcus finally exhaled. "Sarah," he said, "someone may have found out about you." Her face drained of colour. "What do you mean?" Marcus didn't soften it. She deserved truth. "My life isn't normal," he said. "People try to hurt me. Sometimes they hurt what I care about to get to me." Sarah stared at him, stunned. "Marcus, what are you involved in?" He hesitated. Then he said it plainly. "I'm not just a businessman." She swallowed. "You're Mafia." The word came out like she didn't want it to be real. Marcus didn't deny it. Sarah stumbled backward slightly, bracing a hand against the counter. "Oh my God!" "I've tried to keep you away from that world," Marcus said, "but the moment I cared, it became a risk." Sarah's eyes filled with tears, not romantic tears, fear tears. "My girls," she whispered, "my girls." "They're safe," Marcus said quickly, "right now, but we need to make sure they stay safe." Sarah's voice cracked. "You brought danger to my children." Marcus flinched because she was right. "I didn't mean to," he said, "but yes, my world touches everything I touch." Sarah's breathing went fast. "Then you can't be here. You can't be around us." Marcus's throat tightened. "I don't want to lose you." "This isn't about what you want," Sarah snapped, then immediately softened, horrified at her own tone. "Marcus, I can't risk them. I can't." Marcus looked at the closed bedroom door, then back at her. He had taken lives without blinking. But the thought of those girls crying because of him made him feel sick. "I'll fix it," he said. Sarah shook her head. "You can't fix Mafia." Marcus stepped closer, voice low and lethal. Not aimed at her, aimed at the world. "I can fix anyone who threatens your children." Sarah's eyes widened. "That's exactly what scares me," she whispered. Marcus stood there, caught between two versions of himself. The boss who protected his territory with blood, and the man who wanted to protect a family with love. Finally, he nodded once. "Then I'll do the only thing that actually protects you," he said quietly. Sarah frowned. "What?" Marcus swallowed hard. "I'll walk away." Sarah stared, disbelieving. "You can't." "I can," Marcus said. "It won't be easy, and it won't be clean." He glanced again at the bedroom door. "But I'm done living in a world where innocent people pay for my sins." Sarah's tears spilled over. "Marcus." He reached out but stopped short of touching her, as if he didn't deserve it. "I'm going to end this," he said. "For you. For them." And as he turned to leave, Marcus Moretti realized something terrifying. For the first time, he was ready to lose power. Just to keep love. Marcus left Sarah's apartment that night with a strange, bitter calm. He had walked away from gunfights with less fear than he felt walking down those stairs. Not because that anyone could stop him, no one in the city could, but because he finally understood what he had never let himself understand before. If you love something, you can lose it. And his enemies would use that. Back in his penthouse, he stood at the wall of windows overlooking the skyline and made 2 calls. The first was to Vito Russo. "Meet me at the office," Marcus said. "Now." The second was to the one person he hadn't spoken to in years, his mother. She answered on the 3rd ring, voice sleepy with time zone difference. "Marcus." He hadn't expected her to pick up. He also hadn't expected his own voice to crack. "Mama," he said quietly. A long pause. Then her tone softened with the kind of love that never expires. "What is it, my son?" Marcus stared at the city he owned. "I'm tired," he admitted. His mother breathed out slowly. "Then stop." "I can't just stop." "You can," she said firm. "Or you will die, and you will die alone." The words landed like prophecy. Marcus swallowed. I met someone. His mother didn't sound surprised, only relieved. A good woman? Yes, he said. She has 2 little girls. A beat. And they made you human again. Marcus didn't answer. He didn't have to. At the office, Vito arrived within 15 minutes, along with 3 capos and 2 security chiefs. They sat around the long table like vultures around a meal, watching Marcus closely. He didn't waste time. I'm restructuring, Marcus said. Effective immediately. Vito's eyes narrowed. Meaning what? Marcus leaned forward, voice calm but absolute. We shut down anything that drags heat. No reckless violence, no street wars. We go quiet. We go clean. One of the capos scoffed. Clean? Boss, we are not a charity. Marcus's gaze cut to him like a blade. The man instantly went silent. This isn't a discussion, Marcus continued. I'm taking the organisation legitimately. A wave of disbelief moved across the table. Legitimate meant less profit. Legitimate meant audits, paperwork, and margins that didn't include fear. It also meant stability and a future. Vito spoke carefully. And the rivals? Marcus's jaw tightened. I'll handle them. For the next 6 months, Marcus went to war. Not the kind of war the city expected. Not bodies in alleys and headlines. He used contracts. He used federal pressure. He used silent buyouts and hostile takeovers and calculated traps. He offered rival crews one option: take the money and exit, or fight and lose everything. Some took the money. Some tried to fight. They learned fast that Marcus could destroy a man's life without spilling a drop of blood. Still, threats didn't vanish overnight. One evening in late spring, Sarah's car tyres were slashed outside the hospital parking lot. It wasn't random. Marcus was waiting for her outside the hospital when her shift ended. He stood beside his car, dressed like a businessman. No visible weapon, no entourage. But his eyes were sharp. Sarah froze when she saw him. What are you doing here? She demanded, quietly glancing around. Marcus, you can't... I know, he said, voice low, but I needed to see you. Sarah's face was tired these days. Certification courses after long shifts were brutal, yet her eyes still carried that same stubborn light. You said you'd walk away, she reminded him. I'm trying, Marcus said, but walking away doesn't mean danger disappears instantly. Sarah's voice broke. My tyres. It was them, wasn't it? Marcus nodded once. Sarah's hands trembled. I can't do this. I can't live like this. Marcus stepped closer. You won't. She looked at him like she wanted to believe him, but couldn't afford to. Then what? She whispered. Because I can't keep letting you back into our lives if it puts my girls at risk. Marcus stared at her for a long moment, then made a decision. Move, he said. Not far. Just safer. Better building. Better security. Better neighbourhood. Under your name. Quiet. Sarah recoiled instantly. No, I don't want you buying my life. I'm not buying your life, Marcus said firmly. I'm protecting it. Sarah shook her head, eyes wet with frustration. You can't protect everything with money and fear. Marcus's voice softened. I'm learning that. She held his gaze. Then, quietly, are you doing this for us? Or for you? The question stung, because the honest answer was both. For you, he said, for the girls, and because you reminded me who I could have been if I hadn't become what I became. Sarah blinked hard, trying not to cry in the parking lot. I don't hate you, she whispered, but I'm scared. I know, Marcus said, "and you're right to be." He stepped back, giving her space. "But I'm not asking you to trust the world I come from," he added. "I'm asking you to trust the man who's trying to leave it." By late summer, Sarah passed her exams. She got the position at Children's Hospital. Better hours, better pay. And slowly something changed. She didn't feel like she was drowning anymore. And Marcus, shockingly, kept his distance the way he promised. He didn't show up uninvited, didn't appear at her door like a storm. He called, he waited, he respected boundaries he had never respected in his life. That mattered more to Sarah than any gift ever could. When the twins started calling him Uncle Marcus, Sarah didn't correct them. She told herself it was harmless. But deep down, she knew it was something else. A family trying to form around a man who didn't believe he deserved one. Christmas returned quietly, like a test. 1 year after the night at the Grand Imperial, snow fell again, lights twinkled again, and Marcus wasn't sure if he would be invited into their warmth again. He stood outside their new apartment building, bigger, safer, brighter, holding a small bag of gifts. Not extravagant, thoughtful. Sarah opened the door. For a heartbeat, neither of them spoke. Then she stepped aside. "You're late," she said, but there was a smile in it. Marcus exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for months. Traffic. Inside, the twins exploded toward him. "Uncle Marcus!" They hugged him so hard he almost lost balance. Sarah laughed. "Careful, you two!" Marcus looked at the room. A real tree this time, still decorated with handmade ornaments, because Sarah insisted the girls' hands belonged on the tree more than store-bought perfection. The smell of pancakes filled the apartment. It felt like last year, but stronger, safer, earned. Over breakfast, Emma announced, "Mummy says we're going to the Grand Imperial tonight." Marcus blinked. "We are?" Sarah raised an eyebrow. "It's our anniversary." Marcus started, then stopped, realizing what she meant. The night they met, the night everything shifted. Marcus's throat tightened. "Are you sure? That place is where my girls learned kindness still exists," Sarah said softly, "and where you learned you weren't as alone as you thought." Marcus stared at her, emotion catching him off guard. "And," Sarah added quieter, "I don't want that memory to belong to pain anymore. I want to rewrite it." Marcus stepped closer, voice rough. "Sarah." She reached up and touched his face, gentle but certain. "You tried," she said. "You really tried." "I'm still trying," he admitted. "I know," she whispered. "That's why you're here." That evening, they returned to the Grand Imperial. The staff recognized Marcus instantly, some with fear, some with curiosity. But when they saw him walk in beside Sarah, with 2 excited twins holding his hands, something shifted in their expressions. They didn't see a Mafia boss buying companionship. They saw a man being allowed into a family. They were seated at the same corner table. But this time, the chair across from Marcus wasn't empty. Sarah sat there, warmth in her eyes. Emma and Lily sat between them, whispering secrets and giggling about dessert. Marcus lifted his glass, not toward emptiness, toward them. "To Christmas," he said quietly. Emma raised her juice like a grown-up. "To pancakes," Lily whispered. "To family." Marcus's hands tightened slightly around the glass. Family, the thing he thought he had traded away forever. He looked at Sarah. "Thank you." Sarah frowned. "For what?" "For letting me come home," Marcus said. Sarah's eyes filled. "You didn't come home because I let you," she whispered. "You came home because you chose to stop running." Marcus breathed out slowly. Outside, snow fell. Inside, laughter warmed the room. And Marcus Moretti, the man who once ruled shadows, finally understood what real wealth was. Not power, not money, not fear, but the people who chose to sit with you, even when they didn't have to, and the courage to become someone worthy of that seat.